Ever wondered how small tribes became mighty kingdoms and shaped India's future? Let's explore the game-changing Later Vedic Period. The Later Vedic Period, spanning roughly from 1000 to 600 BCE, marked a pivotal transition in ancient Indian history. Following the early Vedic period, this era is characterized by significant social, political, economic, and religious changes that laid the foundation for later developments in Indian civilization. The main sources for understanding this period include the later Vedic texts, such as the Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda, as well as supplementary texts like the Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and the philosophical Upanishads. These texts offer insights into evolving societal structures, governance, and spiritual thought. Why is this period significant? It bridges the tribal, pastoral society of the early Vedic period and the organized, urbanized world of the Mahajanapadas, which emerged shortly after. The later Vedic period witnessed the rise of territorial kingdoms, stratified societies, and philosophical ideas that continue to resonate in Indian culture today. Political system. The political landscape of the later Vedic period saw a dramatic shift from tribal governance to the rise of territorial states, known as Janapadas. Earlier tribal assemblies like the Sabha and Samiti, which played a key role in decision-making during the early Vedic period, started to decline in importance. Power became centralized in the hands of kings, who now claimed divine authority to legitimize their rule. Prominent kingdoms of this period included the Kuru and Panchala in the north, and Kosala and Videha in the eastern Gangetic plains. These territories were governed by monarchs who performed grand rituals like the Rajasuya Yajna, symbolizing their ascent to power, and the Ashvamedha Yajna, which demonstrated their territorial supremacy. For example, King Janaka of Videha was not only a political leader, but also a philosopher, embodying the era's blend of governance and intellectual inquiry. These rituals also reflected the growing influence of Brahmins, who played a crucial role in consolidating the king's authority through religious ceremonies. Society during the later Vedic period became increasingly stratified, with the Varna system gaining a rigid structure. The four Varnas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, defined one's position and role within society. Brahmins emerged as the dominant class, monopolizing religious and ritualistic knowledge. Kshatriyas held political and military power, often collaborating with Brahmins to maintain their rule. Vaishyas managed agriculture, trade, and commerce, forming the economic backbone. Shudras were tasked with serving the other three classes, often relegated to menial labor. This era also saw the emergence of the Gotra system, which regulated marriages and lineage, ensuring the preservation of social hierarchies. For example, intermarriage between Gotras was encouraged to prevent inbreeding within clans. The status of women, which had been relatively higher in the early Vedic period, declined during this time. Women were excluded from political assemblies and significant rituals, though exceptions like Gargi and Maitreyi showed that intellectual pursuits were not entirely closed off to them. Social inequalities deepened as hereditary occupations became the norm, making mobility between Varnas almost impossible. This stratification became the precursor to the later caste system in India. Economy. The economy of the later Vedic period saw significant advancements, largely due to the introduction of iron tools. Known as Krishna Ayas, or black metal, iron plows and other agricultural implements allowed people to clear dense forests and cultivate the fertile lands of the Gangetic plains. This led to an agriculture-based economy, replacing the pastoral economy of the early Vedic period. The concept of private property and land emerged, marking a significant shift from communal ownership. Land became a key measure of wealth, contributing to increased economic disparities. Trade and commerce also gained momentum, with nishka, a type of metallic currency, facilitating exchanges. Artisans and craftsmen began specializing in pottery, metalwork, and textiles. The production of painted gray ware pottery, for instance, is a hallmark of this period, reflecting the growth of urban centers and trade. These economic advancements not only improved living standards, but also laid the groundwork for urbanization in the subsequent Mahajanapada period. Religion and philosophy. Religion during the later Vedic period became increasingly ritualistic, dominated by elaborate sacrifices or yajnas. The Brahmins conducted these ceremonies to invoke divine blessings for prosperity, rain, or political supremacy. Examples include the Ashvamedha, which was a political tool as much as a religious ritual. However, this focus on ritualism led to growing discontent among certain sections of society. People began questioning the excessive emphasis on material offerings and the monopolization of religion by the Brahmins. This dissatisfaction paved the way for the emergence of philosophical thought, as seen in the Upanishads. The Upanishads moved away from external rituals to focus on internal spiritual exploration. They introduced profound concepts such as Brahman, the universal soul or ultimate reality; Atman, the individual soul; Moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death; Karma, the idea of cause and effect tied to one's actions. For example, the dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad reflects this philosophical inquiry. These ideas laid the intellectual groundwork for later movements, like Buddhism and Jainism, which emerged as critiques of Vedic orthodoxy. Conclusion. In conclusion, the later Vedic period was a transformative era in ancient Indian history. Politically, it saw the rise of territorial kingdoms and centralized monarchies. Socially, it introduced the rigid Varna system, shaping the framework for Indian society for millennia. Economically, advancements in agriculture and trade set the stage for urbanization. Religiously, the era witnessed both the dominance of ritualism and the birth of philosophical inquiry. This period was not just a transition from the early Vedic period to the Mahajanapadas, but a foundation for India's later cultural and intellectual achievements. By understanding the later Vedic period, we gain valuable insights into how ancient Indian society evolved into the complex and diverse civilization we know today. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, inspiring, or just plain interesting, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more content like this. Your support keeps us going. And we've got plenty of exciting videos coming up that you won't want to miss. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one.